Steve Webb is the former Pensions Minister for the UK and is currently Head of Pensions for Royal London Insurance. He's also not an optimist when it comes to the outlook for pension provision, especially for millennials in the UK. You see, Steve has calculated that an individual entering the workplace currently would need to save or have saved £260,000 by their retirement date, let's assume that's roughly age 60, in order to have any chance of a reasonably comfortable retirement. And he simply feels that the vast majority of them are not going to make it. But he hasn't really given us any idea of what a solution might look like. I think that millennials, young people, are obviously turned off by the phrase pension. We need to find a way of explaining to potential pension savers just what an incredibly generous arrangement an employer-sponsored pension is and how incredibly important it is for them to engage with it. And the second thing we need to do is explain to them the benefit of engaging with this process as young as possible and the cost to them, real financial cost, in not doing so and in delaying. I think we need to change how we describe what a pension is and does. The word pension itself, certainly post-pension freedoms, is becoming a little bit outdated. This isn't a process, it isn't a trust fund, it's a great big pot of money with your name on it. Nobody I know, young or old, turns down a great big pot of money with your name on it that you can do what you want with. That has been largely subsidised by other people. If you start saving with a goal of achieving a £260,000 pot, so back to Mr. Webb's ambitious number, at age 25, that's going to cost you roughly £240 a month. Not a big amount of money, I know it's a lot to some people, but to get a £260,000 pot doesn't feel like a lot to me. If you leave that 10 years and engage with it at age 35, that nearly doubles. That takes you to £450 a month. And if you leave it till your age 40, that rises to a whopping £650 a month. These are very, very significant cost differences. But it's not just the amount it costs you each month, it's the amount of subsidy you get through the process. And the best way to illustrate this is a simple one. Free money. We all like the sound of free money. If you start saving for your £260,000 at age 25, it will actually have cost you £100,000. So the government and your employer have chipped in £160,000 of free money in order that you enjoy a comfortable retirement. That is a whopping present. You can't, I've never met anyone who goes, a free 160 grand, no thanks. Crazy. If you delay that by just 10 years, you lose £30,000 of that subsidy. And if you delay it by 15 years, you lose £50,000 of that subsidy. It suddenly begins to cost you £150,000, not £100,000. If ever there was a good reason to start early, free money has to be it. Look, this isn't rocket science. It's obvious. The earlier you start, the less it costs you and the more free money you get out of it. How do we get this message across more effectively? Well, I think we have to start describing it for what it is. Call it a pension, everyone goes to sleep. Call it a great big pot of cash with your name on it, and people start sitting up and paying attention.